Have you ever wondered, like seriously, why we still haven't seen characters like Geto, Kinjaku, Nobara, or Nanami in the game yet? I mean, come on, even Jogo, Dagon, or Toji, where the hell are they? It's been, what, over a year since the game dropped? And yet, these fan-favorite characters are nowhere to be found. What's the deal? Well, there's actually a reason for that. Depending on how you look at it, it might be a good one, or it might just tick you off. But here's the thing, there's a pattern here. And if you haven't noticed it yet, don't worry, because that's exactly what we're breaking down in this video. Now, if you're the type who just skims and shrugs, this might not be for you. But if you like to think a little deeper, connect the dots, and share your take, then stick around, because by the end of this video, I promise it'll all make sense. And yeah, if you make it all the way through, you're automatically qualified for our giveaway. So don't skip ahead and miss out. Before we get started though, let's take a moment to pick the winners from our last giveaway. If you want to get in on this one, it's super simple. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, watch the whole thing, and drop a comment with your thoughts and your username. That's all you got to do. All right, let's get into it. All right, I'm making this video because I know a lot of y'all have been kind of frustrated with the recent updates. Well, except for the last one, that was straight fire, not gonna lie. But the real question is, was that a one-time W, or are we finally entering a new era of consistent, big-time updates? Or maybe, just maybe, is Z finally shifting focus toward those highly requested mainline characters? Now I gotta keep it real with you. I don't have all the answers, and I'm not about to feed you false hope either. So then why even make this video if nothing I'm saying is confirmed? Well, because I want to show you what I see. Let's rewind for a second. Before Utah dropped, have you noticed the pattern? The game started leaning into characters nobody really expected. I mean, who in their right mind predicted Grasshopper Guy was getting in before, say, Nanami or Toji? No disrespect, but let's be real. He had like, what, 5 minutes of screen time? Yet here he is in the game. Now you might be thinking, nah, we already got a solid roster. We've had the heat since day one. And yeah, I hear you. Of course we got the main squad early on. Gojo, Sukuna, Yuji, the heavy hitters. That made total sense. They're the face of Jujutsu They're meta, they're iconic, and they were the perfect picks to launch the game and get the community hyped right out of the gate. But after that, it's been this weird mix. One update drops someone hyped, you know, a real banger. And then the next one, it's like, wait, who? Like out of nowhere. So I started seeing this pattern. Or maybe I'm just overanalyzing it. But it kind of looks like Z is deliberately alternating between fan-favorite, high-demand characters and those low-key side story types that barely made the cut in the anime. And look, maybe this whole theory isn't strong enough to carve into stone or anything, but there's definitely something clever happening behind the scenes. Here's the play I think Z is making. Whenever a major character drops, player numbers spike like crazy. You've seen it. The game lights up for a few days, maybe a couple weeks, then naturally dips. Now, if you're Z, what do? You don't blow your whole roster of top-tier characters at once. You hold back, you stretch out the hype. So instead of dropping another big name right after a successful update, you slide in a mid-tier character or introduce a new feature, just enough to keep things alive without wasting your aces. Think back to when they dropped Todo and Heian Sukuna. Massive hype. The game peaked. Then came Grasshopper Guy. Very random and mid, but enough to keep things moving without using up another heavy hitter. When player interest started dipping again, Z dropped Higuruma. Boom, spike. Then another mid-level follow-up with Star Rage to balance things out. And then, after some delays and quieter updates focused on stuff like build mode, the game started slipping again. That's when Z pulled another power move. He dropped Yuta Okatsu, huge fan favorite, and paired him with a surprise drop of Charles Bernard. And guess what? That update made the game dominate TSB for the first time. Now that's a strategy. So yeah, maybe we don't have a confirmed roadmap, but looking at how these updates roll out, there's a method to the madness. And honestly, it's kind of genius. So you see the difference now. Unlike most anime games out there where devs go all in from day one, dropping every meta character like it's Christmas morning, JJS plays the game differently. Think about it. Most titles start off with the obvious heavy hitters. Then right after, boom, they hit you with more top-tier names like Kashimo, Nanami, Toji, you name it. And they're not just throwing them in either. These other games go all out with flashy, cinematic moves that sometimes even blow the anime out of the water. This tends to be the formula, right? Drop all the big names up front, dress them up with insane visuals, give people that instant dopamine hit, and boom, it works for like a week. But then what? People get their quick fix, they play around with the flashy characters, and a couple of days later, they're bored. They've seen it all. Nothing left to chase. The hype train crashes and the player base dips hard. That's what happens when you front load all your content. Sure, it feels amazing in the moment, but it doesn't last. Now, JJS, on the other hand, flips that whole approach on its head. Instead of tossing every S-tier character into the game all at once, Z plays the long game. He builds tension. He creates moments. And yeah, sometimes it's frustrating. We're all out here wondering where Toji or Geto are, but at the same time, that's exactly why we're still talking about this game. It's not just about the characters. It's about when they show up and how it hits when they finally do. Another thing I noticed, the devs are picky, strategic even. They don't just dump all the good stuff at once because they're keeping an eye on the numbers. When the game's doing well, they hold back the fire. They drop mid-tier content to maintain the balance. But the second they see player interest dipping, boom, out comes a fan favorite. Still with me? Cool. Now let's get back to the real question. Why aren't characters like Geto, Kashimo, Toji, Kenjaku, Nanami, or Jogo in the game yet? Are they ever coming? Honestly, yeah, I truly believe they will. Unless Z suddenly retires and vanishes off the face of the earth, there's no logical reason not to add them. These characters are literally his aces. They're the trump cards. They're super high demand, and they've got massive hype behind them. But here's the thing. Z doesn't want to just drop them like every other game does. He's probably waiting to make sure when these guys hit the game, they feel special. He wants them to stand out from every other JJK-inspired game out there. And part of that whole delaying tactic I talked about earlier, yeah, that's in full effect. It builds suspense. It creates anticipation. And when the timing's right, when the game needs a shot in the arm, Z hits us with a surprise drop that breaks the battlegrounds genre. You might not have realized it, but that's what's been happening. That's why JJS continues to dominate games like JJK Battlegrounds. The moves might look silly, the drops might seem random, but behind all that chaos, there's strategy, there's timing, and honestly, it's kind of brilliant. All right, I'll stop glazing JJS and Z now, I promise. But I know some of you are probably thinking, okay, so what's next then? Well, here's the thing. Yeah, I've been talking about how I see a pattern, this back and forth between big-name characters and mid-level drops. But let's be real, none of this is set in stone. Sure, the last update was massive, so logically you might expect the next one to be more low-key. But we don't actually know what Z's cooking up. He could be prepping another curveball, or maybe he just wakes up one day and decides, screw it, here's Toji and Geto. At the end of the day, it's all up to him. The guy's unpredictable, and honestly, that's part of the fun. So yeah, that's where I'll leave it. Appreciate you sticking with me through all this. If you made it to the end, you already know you're officially qualified for the giveaway. Catch you in the next one. Peace.